So lovely. Right. It's saying we've gone live. So I'm just going to double check on my phone just while we do that. Check that it is coming up. Because I have a terrible habit of going, it's saying it's live, but I'm not 100% it's on there yet. So we'll have a little look at that and then we'll be ready to go. Yes, lovely. It's gone live. So excellent. So hello, if you're joining us, welcome. I'm very excited about today's guest. Today's guest, we have Millie from Hounds Greetings Cards. I've been a fan of Millie since I saw her first ever card back in October 23. So over 12 months ago now. And just to prove I'm a fan, I have got lots of her items around. I'll show you as we're going along. But I've been a huge fan of her, as I say, since I saw her first cards. And it was, but I don't know much about Millie's background and the business. I just know the products. So we thought it'd be great to get Millie on and have a little bit of a chat about Hounds Greetings Cards and how it came about and some of her inspirations and her creative process, because I always think that behind the scenes is fascinating to find out more about. So welcome, Millie. Thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's great. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited. So I suppose the first thing that we should kick off with is I know Millie she's one of our members of Insight Hounds, and we work with her dog Sammy, attends classes regularly. And then you also adopted, a little bit later on, you adopted Fleur as well. So Millie's got 2 greyhounds. But obviously I know Sammy really well, but for people watching that have no idea about Sammy and Millie, can you tell us a little bit more about them both and how they've inspired you?
So we adopted Sammy in would it be June, I think, 2022. So I'd just left a job that I wasn't really suited to at the time. So Sammy came into my life at a perfect point because he introduced me to the world of greyhounds and all things sight hounds. And yeah, he just inspired me so much. I learnt so much about the breed. And then we ended up adopting our second dog, Fleur, in October of, I think, a year later. And yeah, Fleur is a completely different character. Sammy's quite chilled and laid back and a real thinker, whereas Fleur is a fizzy dog, I think we say. A busy, fizzy dog who needs a lot of enrichment and a lot of attention. And but she's perfect. She's a beautiful dog in her own way.
I love how much you've told me in the past, and I've seen videos of Fleur collecting. She's a bit of a collectomania, isn't she, Fleur?
Yeah, she's a big hoarder. She loves shoes, socks. She's got an umbrella that she loves to collect, and they all get put on Sammy's bed normally, not her bed, on Sammy's bed. So
oh, that's interesting. Oh, lovely. So were they kind of the inspiration for you starting Hounds Greetings Cards? Was it your dogs that sort of triggered that, or was it something you'd always thought about, or how did it come about?
So I've always sort of been quite creative as a person. I've always loved to draw, but I think like a lot of people who have dogs and live with dogs, you have a whole camera roll of pictures of your dogs. And I have so many photos of Sammy and Fleur, and I just sort of started to draw from them really. And I just was really inspired by, particularly with greyhounds, with their quirky ways of lying down, and they call it roaching and all those sorts of behaviours that they have. So yeah, I just started drawing, and then a competition came up to submit Christmas cards, and I submitted 2 designs, and they didn't get into the competition, but I thought, why don't I just get them printed and then put them on Etsy and then see what happens. And I started getting sales of those 2 cards, and yeah, so it all sort of started from there really.
Oh, fabulous. And I'm a fan of both of those cards. I had both of those cards used last year.
I've got both of them here actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yes, I did ask Millie to do it. Can you do one on Blue Peter? Here's one I made earlier, because I do love both of them. They are classic favourites. Lovely with the band. And the caterpillar, the famous Cleo the caterpillar.
Yes, yeah, it's something that's quite well known in the greyhound world and sight hound world, is the big colourful caterpillar that we all have. Yeah, that's put that little thing in there.
I'm going to be honest. Is down here? She's not. She's lying on it. I've actually got.
There it is.
He's curled up with it down here by me. So yeah, she's down there with Cleo. But yes, I think and that's been Christmas presents for our dogs over the years. So I love that it was part of the card design. That's great. So was Cleo a present for Sammy or Fleur? Is that how the Cleo idea came about?
I think we got it for Sammy first when we had him, but Sammy's not really that interested in it. It's more Fleur, so it's with her in her bed, and it's become her. Yeah.
She collected it.
Probably, yes.
Oh, lovely. So obviously your dogs are huge start again, Claire. Obviously your dogs are huge inspirations for what you've done and your cards. And I know there's quite a few different what would you call yourself? I don't know what the right terminology is. Illustrator, cartoonist, drawer? I think
illustrator.
So there's a few people out there that have. Did you sort of take inspiration from them, or some of the designs that are already out there, or just decide I'm going to put my own stamp on this, or how did that come on? How did that work?
So there's two sort of key kind of illustrators. There's Richard Skipworth, which I think a lot of people with greyhounds know. He's a brilliant illustrator, and he really captures sort of greyhounds and their quirks in really beautiful drawings, and he's very good at having sort of simple designs, but they really do speak. And then there's another illustrator called Sketchy Hounds, and she has beautiful cards and a few other stationery bits. And again, very similar. She just displays the quirks of greyhounds really well. And yeah, she uses colour lovely. And so I really, really like their work.
Well, I'll have to look up. I hadn't heard of Sketchy Hounds. Richard Skipworth, I'm a huge fan of. Is his collars Richard Skipworth? I've got Richard Skipworth all over the place. But I haven't heard of Sketchy Hounds. Like I've got quite a bit of your stuff all over the place as well. I know. I use this all the time when I'm talking to people online about settle training and things like that. So, but yeah, I have to have a look at those. Thank you. That's really, really good to know. So, in regards to sort of the creative process, have you got an art background? Because I can't draw, and I've got so much admiration for people that can. Everything I do just looks like a 3-year-old could have done it. It just never works. So have you got an art background? Because what you produce is fantastic. You've clearly got a skill and a talent there.
So I studied art sort of at GCSE and then A level. And then I did like a sort of foundation course, and then I went to university and I did interior design, which I really did enjoy, but I knew I didn't want to sort of be an interior designer. But I did sort of learn a lot of sort of software, sort of Photoshop skills when I was doing my degree. So it did really benefit me to help with what I'm doing now. So.
Oh, fantastic. So have you got any particular artists out there that are favourites, or a type of or a style of art or anything like that you sort of really interested in?
I think bringing it back to Richard Skipworth, I think he's probably up there with one of my favourites. I think because it combines the kind of drawing and the greyhounds together. So yeah, I'd probably say he's probably my favourite.
Oh, I get that. It's two passions together, definitely. I understand that. So how do you go about a design? If you sort of does the idea come first? Does the photograph? Do you just loosely sketch something? How does it work? What's the
so I tend to sort of start with photos, sort of looking at the photos that I've got of my own dogs, and then I'll draw on an iPad on an app called Procreate, and I just sort of start to sketch and get sort of proportions and just sort of key features drawn, and then I take those drawings that I've drawn on the iPad into Photoshop, or Affinity is another type of software, and then I'll start sort of adding colour and looking at like layout, and yeah, once I'm happy with the design, it's quite easy to then replicate it and put sort of different colours in. So I could have like a black greyhound in one, and then the same design but a fawn greyhound, or then a brindle. So yeah, it's once the sort of initial drawing is done, it's quite easy to sort of replicate it into sort of different colours. And then yeah, once I'm happy with the fonts and the text and the colours, I'll either send to print with an external company, or I can print from home now, so I can start to sort of test print at home, which is really good. And then yeah, and then I go into uploading it onto Etsy and see what happens.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that, because the way you're describing it, and kind of how you've got these photos of your dogs, but then almost, because I don't think simplified's maybe the right word, but because of the way you design them. I know this picture that I just showed everyone, that was kind of Fleur was the inspiration behind that one, but when I look at it, I see Izzy, because it's got similar, you've got the mannerisms, I suppose, and that's what you've captured in it, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I suppose a lot of us with greyhounds see all of those quirks, those poses, and then yeah, and I suppose that's probably why capturing so many hearts, because they're going, oh, that's just like my dog, and just like my dog. So even though it's based on yours, you can interpret it as your own then, can't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And I remember when I first saw your work, you've got a couple of the 2 Christmas cards that you showed us, and now, well, I know I've got like prints of yours, I've got mugs, I've got coasters, I've got a whole host of things. So you've gone into so many more products now, which is fantastic. And as a fan, I love that you've gone into more products. But has that been a sort of difficult decision, or have you, is it a sort of a trial and error? Is there demand for certain things? How have you gone about deciding what to do and what to go for?
I would say that cards are quite sort of not easy, but they're, you know, I can sort of work on them quite quickly and develop lots of different colours or whatever. But products like mugs or wrapping paper, I'm using as a supplier, so it's sort of looking at their pricing and who's out there, and then you kind of order something and you're like, oh, that's not quite the quality I wanted it to be. And then I've also found that sort of different products sort of do better in different spaces. So say on Etsy, my cards seem to sell better, whereas at sort of craft stalls and fairs, the wrapping paper and mugs, that sort of stuff, is better there than on Etsy. So yeah, it's a bit of trial and error still about what products work and where they work, I suppose.
That's the thing, when you're a new business and a small business, it is sort of growing all that, and all that trial and error that does go on, especially in the early days. And I mean, it's fantastic to think that it wasn't that long ago, kind of like just 12 months ago, that you put the first design out into the world, and you've got so many different products. So what if people are watching and they don't know what products you've got at the moment, what else have you got to go? So the cards and the mugs we've talked about. What else do you supply? You mentioned wrapping paper.
Got some wrapping paper designs. I've got a few A4 prints, so that was similar to the one that you've shown. I've got bookmark as well, and then I think coasters. I've got coasters as well. So yeah, there's a few different products. So
fantastic. Have you got a favourite product?
I think probably would still be my cards. I think I don't know if it's maybe my trusting back. I think because it was the first product I brought out, it sort of stayed with me. So yeah, that's probably my favourite.
Yeah, I like that one. I get that. I can see that. So that's lovely. So with Christmas coming up, I need to talk to you off camera about some cards. Don't let me forget. I need to get my order in for my Christmas cards with you. I noticed at the last show you did that you've got the Christmas cards now in packs, and you were mentioning that, because I don't think you definitely weren't doing that last year, if I remember right. Is that a new thing that you've changed this year?
Yeah, I think when I launched sort of last year, I noticed that I sort of had inquiries about, do I sell multi-packs and things like that. So I thought this year I definitely try and do a couple of multi-packs. I've got a mixed pack, sort of mixed colours, and then I've got a black greyhound pack, which I have again to show. So it comes with my trusty roaching one, and then there's one with a jumper on.
Oh, that's lovely.
A caterpillar.
Oh, brilliant.
Jumper on, and then Santa hat, and then an antlers one as well.
Oh, they're fab.
Yeah, so it's nice that that people who, I mean, you don't have to have a black greyhound, but I find that pack seems to be performing the best so far. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how well that's gone down.
Oh, fantastic. It is the most it's the dominant gene, so most of the greyhounds are black. Obviously you get a whole selection of colours, as you know, but you do get more black than any other colour, so that makes sense, really. There's got to be more black ones out there, and people go, oh, that sort of relates to mine, doesn't it? So yeah, I can see that. That's lovely. So some really interesting stuff there. So have you got, because I noticed, I wanted to talk to you about as well, when I saw the packs, you've got them in string now, as opposed to, which I thought was a really good idea, as opposed to sort of cellophane and that sort of thing that a lot of Christmas card packs have now. Is that like a conscious decision with the...
I was just trying to be a little bit more, eco-friendly, and sort of, you know, being cards, they're quite easy just to wrap in string, and then I put like a little label on them, just showing which designs are included. So yeah, a conscious decision just to try and not use as much plastic as possible.
Oh, that's great. We've just had a comment that's popped up from Steph. She's saying they're beautiful. She wants to keep the cards rather than sending them to people. I think she had some over the weekend, if I heard right. Or
yes,
right. You have to give her a second bunch for her to actually send to people. A bunch for her to write. So have you got any plans for what's next with Hounds Greeting Cards, or anything you're thinking about for the future?
I think at the moment I'm just seeing how Christmas goes, and then I will probably bring out a Valentine's card. But I think when January comes, it's a really good time just to evaluate and see what did well, what new ideas I could sort of think about. So yeah, I think I'm just going to see how Christmas is, and then evaluate in the new year.
Oh, lovely. And if people want to find out more, I know you're at a show coming up. If people are local, you're at the Daybreaks, Santa at Daybreaks events on the 8th of December, because I know we're both at that one. So I know you're there. But if people want to find you, where's the best place to find you and your cards?
Sort of on Etsy, if you have Etsy, so just search Hounds Greetings Cards, and then I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, so again just search Hounds Greetings Cards and I'll pop up hopefully.
Oh, that's lovely. No, as I say, I'm a huge fan of your work and a huge fan of what you've been doing, and seeing you grow from sort of these 2 cards to I think the latest sort of stand I saw you at was at the Sight Hound Camping and Caravan with Greyhounds and Sight Hounds, and there was just a gazebo full of items. It's been amazing watching your journey. You're just doing so well, and your cards and your products are just I'm, as I say, I'm a huge fan. I just think they're absolutely fabulous, and watching you grow as a business and it's just absolute pleasure. So it's so wonderful to see. So thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with me about the behind the scenes stuff, because you don't often get to see that when you see the cards and just see the items, but seeing the person behind it who's designed them and how you've gone about it is fascinating. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Is there anything you want to add? Or?
No, I don't. I think the only other thing I was going to say is it's just a lovely feeling when you sort of make something and then other people sort of come along and want to buy that. I think I can't describe what that feels like, but it's wonderful when you've sort of sat and designed something and then you go to sort of stalls and people want to buy what you've designed. So yeah, it's just a fantastic feeling, and
It really there's somewhere out there I've seen on social media, like Instagram or Facebook or somewhere, where there's a post that says every time you make a purchase from a small business, behind the scenes someone's doing a happy dance, and and I kind of understand that as obviously a smaller business myself, and it relates to what you were saying there, that there is that moment where you put something out into the world and gone, oh yes, it's helped somebody, or it's made them happy, or they've purchased, and it's something that it's come from an idea in your head to an actual end products. It's a fabulous feeling, and it's but I'm not surprised, because they are fabulous products from a fabulous person. So I'm really not surprised, but that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's great. And thank you so much for your time and talking to me about Hounds Greeting Cards.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No, an absolute pleasure. See you soon. Bye.